honey buns, let's talk about why free college is a scam. Now, I'm not really on the train that, oh, you shouldn't go to college, you should not go at all, or if you are in college, drop out because you're going to be so much successful if you do drop shipping, start selling courses, and actually make a business sort of thing. You can very much well do that while you're in college and even outside of college when you do graduate. So I'm not really going to talk about that sort of college, why, it is a scam to go to college in the first place because you get a lot of value out of it through the people that you meet, and then also just the learning and the education within itself, and then also a prerequisite to that, getting a job. If you want a job and you want to work in a specific field that maybe you can't accomplish by yourself by doing a business, I don't think everybody in if they don't go to college, they can really start a mechanical, like an aerospace sort of company, and send missiles at the moon and shit like that. So yeah, I don't think you can do that without a college degree or some sort of knowledge, and I don't really think you can learn about how to send rockets into space, without formal education and doing it by yourself. So yeah, that's not what I'm going to be talking about today. Today I want to talk about the rare set of circumstances and people that get college for free. And those are typically first generation students or people who have scholarships and they have like a lot of money from their scholarships. And granted, there's like two types of people. One, they're first gen and the government is like supporting that and wants these people to go to college because they didn't have the chance to. The other subset of people is basically people who work their asses off and don't have that like sort of experience, and they just get a lot of money and they get a lot of funding. So one thing in the Ivy League is like if your parent, and this is for the U.S. by the way, so I'm going to be talking about the U.S. I don't know about the rest of the world, but if your parents make under, I think it's like, I don't know, 120K or 100K, like less than that, and you get into an Ivy League because you're super smart and like you do all this sort of stuff, you basically get to go for free. And so that's 4 years of college, tuition, room and board, I don't know, whatever it includes. Basically, tuition is free. And that's a pretty big deal because it's really expensive to go to those college. But one thing that people don't notice is somebody is always paying for college in some sort of way, whether that be the endowment of this university itself or the government itself, whatever it may be. Somebody is paying for college, so free isn't always free. So don't get that wrong. Somebody is always paying, and there are consequences and there are benefits to it. You're getting a free education, but somebody else, the government is having to spend a lot of money to hopefully have you join the workforce or the government or benefit the country in some sort of way. So that is kind of like a misconception. Free isn't always free. Free always costs somebody. But two other things that is, besides the point of you yourself going to college, that is a good thing. But there are two things that come out of this, and a lot of people don't really notice, is that when you get your little stimmy check from Mr. Government, so and often in these cases when you have a lot of money and stuff like that, you will get a stimmy check, and that's basically like money that is left over after all of your expenses have been paid for. This is pretty common, and I'll give an example here about what happens in Florida. People tend to over rely on this, and they tend to think that, oh, this $6,000 that I have for the rest of the semester is a lot. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it long term, it's actually a pretty bad thing that you're only getting this amount when you could be getting a lot more should you not have this scholarship. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And as a result, you kind of lack this sort of independence. You're kind of thinking in your head, oh wow, I have all of this money. All I need to do is study and this will continue forward. But is that really the mindset that you want to be having and like as an outlook on life? It's like, oh, if I just continue to work forever, everything will be fine sort of thing. Yes, that may be true, but is there something else that you could be doing alongside this that could benefit you even more? Just because you have this scholarship and you have all this money and information and stuff like that does not mean that you shouldn't work as hard as other people in order to get into a better situation. Granted, you have worked in some sort of capacity to be able to get this, or you were lucky and blessed that you're first gen, you get all of this funding and stuff because it's not possible in any else within the world. But you need to have some sort of independence when you're going about doing these things. So let me give you an example. So an example that I have here is called the Florida Bright Futures. So in Florida, there's a scholarship, and it kind of goes like this. You score a really good SAT or ACT score. I don't know what it is now. It's some like 13, 1400, I don't know. Pretty minimal in the grand scheme of things. And you will get, there's like three tiers basically. There's like, I don't know, one is like, I don't know, 1500, the other is like 35, and then the other one is like 6500 a year. And that basically goes towards all of your tuition, room and board, or whatever it may be. As long as it goes directly to the university, you get this. Now, who is actually funding this? Because it's not like they can just dish out this program just for anyone. Well, this is actually funded through the Florida Lottery. So everybody that's gambling, they're actually gambling and putting the money towards a scholarship for you to go to college. Now, this is a pretty unique and good thing. I don't know anywhere else that actually does this, but it's actually a pretty good thing to incentivize that. But already some of the money goes for scholarships to help people go to college. That's pretty good. But it just goes to show that there is somebody here that is paying for you to go to college, and that's the people that are gambling. Now, I think this is pretty funny and actually a really good thing in the grand scheme of things. But somebody is paying for you to go to college, and all of this money comes to you, and well, you're kind of just like, wow, I don't really have to do anything. And you kind of become lazy in a sense, and you don't even realize it because you think the outlook on life is pretty good. Let's say, I don't know, let's say here you get like, I don't know, 6.5K, and I don't know, that goes over what, around 5 or 6 months, 5 or 6 months for the semester. If you divide that by 5 or 6 months. In reality, that's not a lot to live off of, and obviously, like the numbers can vary and stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people are getting more than $10,000 a month in scholarships, especially for public or private universities, and a lot of people are taking out student debt. But this is the example for the people who are not in that situation and want to get in sort of a better one. And I'll make another video another day on student debt and stuff like that because I think that's important. We're gonna skip over the Drake and Josh jam. Actually, no, let's go into it real quick because this is more important. This with the Builderman hat over here, he's pretty important. Let me go over the Drake and Josh example. This is a god tier show. If you grew up watching this, you're the goat. Really good, funny show that I grew up watching on the TV. But let's take Drake and Josh. Let's look at their life circumstances that they're given while they're in college, and let's compare them, and I'll tell you what I think about them. So, Drake over here, young, he's cool, he's a little chill, a little bit weird sometimes, gets all the ladies. He gets $20,000 a year in scholarships. He doesn't work or study, or he doesn't work and he only studies. He plays competitive foosball and is introverted, but he's closed-minded about traveling and he's afraid of discovering, so he doesn't really like meeting new people. He's kind of just doing his own thing. He's really comfortable where he's at right now, which is fair. He has all his money, all his money. He's get everything paid for, room and board, tuition, all that stuff. The issue with that is you're only looking right now. You're not looking into the future, not looking ahead of things to see what is it that I can do with the circumstances that I'm given right now that can benefit me in the future in the long run. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, okay, he accumulates, and I'm going to use money as like an example here simply because this has to do with a lot of the money and time. Money and time are the two big factors here. But okay, let me give time as an example. So you have time, all this time, because you only study, right? When you only study, you have a lot of free times on your hands. So what else can you be doing with that? What else? I don't know. Well, obviously as a person you probably have some sort of goals. You should be working on your goals, and you might argue, oh, studying is focusing on the goals. Well, yeah, studying and school is only one part of the puzzle. So now you have to consider, okay, what can I be doing with this leftover money that I have to help me benefit myself in the future? Well, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to put it, I don't know, in a Roth IRA, which is basically a non-taxable retirement account. Oh, that's pretty cool. I can max that out. What else can I be doing? Oh, I can maybe get my first car. Get car. Rather than letting your money sit, you should allow it to be working for you since you're in a situation that allows you to do so. And only studying is going to be your pitfall. Yes, you will be incredibly smart and you will have a lot of opportunities given to you just because you're only studying and you're only, focusing on that. You'll become extremely good at it. But you'll miss out on basically everything else, and that's not really a good thing. And what I'm talking about is all this other stuff. Investing, only studying, not really that good. Looking in the future for what opportunities there are as a result of the good situation that you've been put in. And that means like traveling, you should probably travel more. And these are all the points over here. So in short, Drake is not doing a very good thing right now. Drake is bad. Drake is bad. Yeah, Drake is bad right now. Because Drake is only looking in the present. And his mindset is pretty awful as well, if you go look at here. So he doesn't really like to travel. I would say, like, get over it. Go travel, go meet other people, experience things that are different, and get out of your comfort zone. Everybody always tells you this, but nobody really puts it into practice or really considers what it actually means. So let me give you an example. A couple months ago, I went to Mauritania. Mauritania, I bet you don't even know where that is on the map. Why did I go there? I went there to go surf an iron train with a random guy that I met online. Now you could be like, oh, this guy's pretty spontaneous. That's really batshit crazy. Yes, it is. But I went outside of my comfort zone and I wanted to do something that would allow me to experience other people, other cultures, and things that would allow me to connect with other people that I had no clue. Now I can say I know people in Africa and Mauritania and Dubai, UAE, Qatar, and all those things. So I went on a pretty wonderful and lovely journey. Now, you really need to get over that discomfort. Discomfort with anything. This mindset is terrible, especially in college, when you're only just looking at what there is now and only focusing on what you like instead of experiencing new things, because that will limit the opportunities and options that you have. Um, this one is kind of like a joke, like playing competitive football and introverted. I mean, playing a sport is fine. I'm not gonna diss on football or anything, but being like introverted, it's okay to an extent. I would say be more extroverted if you can, simply because you will have like a lot more opportunities um, to meet other people and get a lot of good advice and have leadership and connect with other people. Like being social is everything in college, right? That is the main reason that you're going there. You're there to meet people. I truly believe like the goal of a university and why they're inviting you there is to meet other people. You're going to the university not for the professors or the studies and stuff. You're going there for the people that you're surrounded by because they are like-minded or just as smart and stuff like that, right? So that's the goal of it. Let's talk a little bit about Josh. So Josh, on the other hand, is a good example. So Josh is good. I need to get these keybinds down, man. Josh is good. So why is Josh good? All right, let's see. So Josh gets $10,000 a year in scholarships and no rent. Now you could argue, oh, well, now he's gonna have to work his ass off some stuff. But the mindset of Josh is a little bit different. He was going to work anyways, whether he got all of the scholarships in the world he had or not. Why? Because he wants to work as a TA. He does summer internships, and he's the capacity to learn is within him, and is a lot greater than Drake. Why? Because he doesn't have all that money and sort of stuff. Right. So he also does leadership. He leads the steel boat building team. I don't know. That's like a club that I learned about. Um, this being a leadership position is quite important because people will remember you for it. Once again, this is another social thing. He also travels regularly and invests regularly. Now, rather than not working, basically, he has a leg up on him, and this is like the money aspect of it. He's actively improving himself for the future. He's future looking in some sort of way because he's taking all of the time, effort, and money that he has that he's putting in, regardless of the fact whether he's getting this scholarship or not in college, and he's making the most out of it. So he's actively improving. He's leaving an impression on people, and he's planning for the future. Always be forward looking. So yeah, Josh gets a very nice check mark. Drake, I'm sorry, you're kind of cooked. So what is like the things that you should be taking away from this? Time is money, and money is time. Well, sort of. In some sort of case, regardless of whatever money that you get in college and how much time you have to spend on it, you tend to have a lot of free time, and you should really be putting that forward in something that is future looking that will benefit you in the future. And I don't want to hear studying is for my future. I'm going to get an internship because I do it. Yes, you will get an internship, and you will do all these great things because you study. But what about all the other things that you can do that because you don't study, or things that aren't basically things that aren't in your book that you can't really study, and things that you have to learn. Those are soft skills. How do you talk to people correctly? How do you send a professional email? How do you go into interviews? How do you learn all of these other? How do you set up a business? All these other sort of like important things that are like quote unquote, good for success. Another thing is like physical and mental stability. Like there's all these sort of things that you would probably learn from your parents or other people in college that help guide you that it's not going to be in a textbook. So a big thing part of that is getting a side hustle, working on the side, being able to put a little bit of stress on yourself to have your goals, to be able to accomplish something, and all of these will help you succeed. Another thing is like learning these sort of soft skills that I was talking about will lead to your success because those are extremely valuable. And also like this is like the three sort of components. So value is in like the skills and capabilities that you have. So I'll put like an S for skills. Values is in the skills and capabilities that you have. Investing, well, you can take this two ways. Let's see. You can take this one as like a money aspect because you're investing in yourself for the future. The other thing is, this is also skill. You're investing in your skills which have value. And when you have value, you are probably more technically competent and more social because people want you. People want to be social with other people who are successful. So these kind of all tie in some sort of way. And I know this isn't really anything about, free college is a scam. I mean, this part is about, free college is kind of sort of a scam, but it's more so because you have free college, what can you be doing that is to benefit you more in the future so that you can set yourself up for success and not be like Drake and be more like Josh. I hope this video helped you and it was inspiring in some sort of way. Let me know if you want me to make a video on student debt. I think that's an interesting topic to talk about as well. If this applies to you in any sort of way, I hope it helped.